And if this is the end, well, I honestly can't think of a more noble way to go.
But in wrestling, there's no such thing as a perfect retirement. Even with all the pomp and circumstance surrounding John Cena's farewell match, his year-long last run was marred by lackluster creative decisions, gettable matches, a heel turn that didn't quite land. Some wrestlers have come close to perfection, like Sting and AEW talent, who delivered memorable finales, but even they faced criticism. Sting, for example, went undefeated and didn't put over anyone significant on his way out. Others truly nailed it, leaving on a high note that fans still remember today. Just look at Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels for proof. And then, there are those who quietly ride off into the sunset, leaving without much fanfare or final spectacle at all. 10 WWE wrestler careers that ended unceremoniously. Number 10, The Ultimate Warrior. Now, the second biggest star of the WWF's golden era, behind Hulk Hogan or ahead of him, depending on who you ask, The Ultimate Warrior technically had 3 in-ring retirements, each one less impressive than the last. He first stepped away in late 1992 in what was considered a semi-retirement. Warrior returned briefly in 1996 under Vince McMahon's creative direction, then again in 1998 with WCW, producing some of the most questionable wrestling of his career, including appearances on Heroes of Wrestling. It seemed he had given up in-ring duty for good after failing to recreate the magic of WrestleMania 6 alongside Hogan, and a disappointing run at 1998's Halloween Havoc. But his final farewell didn't come until a decade later, in 2008, for a small indie promotion in Spain against Orlando Jordan. The match lasted 17 minutes, contested for New Wrestling Evolution's Heavyweight Championship. It wasn't extraordinary. Warrior padded the match, hit a couple of his signature flying shoulder tackles, and finally captured his last piece of wrestling gold. Reports suggest a comeback was arranged so his daughters could see him wrestle, which is both touching and a bit heartbreaking, given that he hadn't been in condition to compete properly since 1998. That was it, his last ever match. It's believed that Warrior was paid a substantial amount to come out of retirement for this European appearance, and he left the belt in the ring, never stepping back into a wrestling ring again. Number 9, Ken Shamrock. Much like the Ultimate Warrior, Ken Shamrock has taken several extended breaks from the wrestling ring, but his latest absence may be permanent. He hasn't wrestled since August 2022, and at 61 years old, it's unlikely he'll add another match to his record. Believe it or not, Shamrock's last match was a victory over Harry Smith, the son of the British Bulldog, but a Philadelphia-based indie promotion Battleground Championship Wrestling. On the mainstream scene, however, the former most dangerous man in the world disappeared into wrestling obscurity. Shamrock returned to TNA in 2019, enjoying feuds with Moose, Sami Callihan, and Eddie Edwards, but he vanished after TNA's February 3rd airing of Impact Wrestling, where his character was storyline suspended indefinitely for putting his hands on commentator DL Brown. In reality, Shamrock quietly stepped back from pro wrestling after struggling to perform without a live audience, leaving the Impact Zone behind. Currently, Shamrock is under a Legends deal with WWE, and there are yearly rumors that he might appear in the Royal Rumble. So far, Triple H hasn't pulled the trigger on a Shamrock surprise. However, with this year's Royal Rumble taking place in Saudi Arabia, fans are hoping WWE might plan a major shock appearance for the veteran. Number 8, Viscera. Whether he was on a mission as Mabel, shaking his hips at a bewildered Lillian Garcia as Viscera, or serving as the hired muscle to Big Daddy V, Nelson Frazier left a lasting mark on professional wrestling. He's widely regarded as one of the most underrated super heavyweights in the ring. After his second departure from WWE in 2008, Frazier remained active, touring various North American independent promotions and finding a home in All Japan Pro Wrestling. His final in-ring match came as a throwaway encounter, Qatar Pro Wrestling against Rene DRI, competing under his Big Daddy V persona. Frazier emerged victorious before stepping away from wrestling to focus on his health and weight loss. Tragically, Frazier passed away from a fatal heart attack before he could continue his career, now 100 pounds lighter. His wife, Cassandra, shared a heart-wrenching message with TMC following his passing. "I guess the good Lord wanted him. I wanted him too, but he won." Number 7, Road Warrior. Much like Bret Hart was considered a wrestler's wrestler, the Road Warriors were the tag team's tag team. They were incredibly athletic powerhouses, and their Doomsday Device finisher was one of the most protected and dangerous moves of its time. On his own, however, Animal struggled to find the same success. His final tag match with Hawk came in a largely forgotten 2003 Raw bout against Kane and Rob Van Dam. After Hawk's passing later that year, Animal attempted to forge his own path, which unfortunately led to less successful Road Warrior spin-offs with Heidenreich and, to a lesser extent, Matt Hardy. Animal was released from WWE by 2006, had a one-off match at TNA's Slammiversary in 2007, and made a brief return to WWE in 2012 during Heath Slater's storyline quest to challenge WWE's past. He also helped open All In 2018 and ended his career serving as an enforcer for Teddy Long in the Texas-based SWE Fury. Tragically, Animal passed away in September 2020 after suffering a heart attack before an official farewell could ever be arranged. It was an unfortunate end to what had otherwise been a legendary wrestling career. Number 6, Kane. While the focus of the Royal Rumble has recently shifted to spotlighting surprise NXT entrant, the match has a long history of featuring legends making unexpected comebacks, often to rapturous applause. Some of the most warmly received returns include Edge in 2020, Mr. Perfect in 2002, Diesel in 2011, and Rey Mysterio in 2018. It's rare, however, for the Royal Rumble to serve as a wrestler's final in-ring outing. One notable exception is Kane, the Big Red Machine, who officially retired from wrestling after entering the 2021 Rumble. He lasted less than 2 minutes before being eliminated by Damian Priest. Since then, Kane has made occasional appearances, including his WWE Hall of Fame induction in 2021. He hasn't returned to active competition. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, Kane explained that a proper in-ring comeback is unlikely. I don't know about that. Man, we're talking about athleticism, movement, and keeping up with the pace of people nowadays. He said, that may have left me behind. For fans, Kane's legacy remains intact, even if the ring is no longer part of his future. Number 5, Tito Santana. Widely regarded as a gem of wrestling's golden era, Tito Santana was almost a journeyman, working everywhere from the heights of WWF and WCW to smaller independent promotions later in his career. But it was under Vince McMahon, El Matador truly shined. He was a 2-time Intercontinental Champion, a 2-time Tag Team Champion, and the 1989 King of the Ring. Santana also helped bridge the gap between the golden era and the new generation of wrestling. It's fair to say Tito dedicated much of his career to McMahon, so it's puzzling that his tenure ended with him performing an untelevised job for Bastion Booger and Damien Demento. While Santana was rarely a headline star, unless the show was in Spain against The Undertaker, it was embarrassing that he was allowed to leave WWE without a proper televised farewell. By today's standards, it would be like The Miz leaving after being jobbed out to Joe Hendry on a live event loop, something that likely would never happen now, and arguably shouldn't have happened then. Fortunately, Tito had decades of wrestling ahead of him outside of McMahon's empire. This included a stint as one of ECW's earliest heavyweight champions. Remarkably, he was still competing as recently as 2019 at the Legends of Wrestling Detroit show. Of course, even that wouldn't have served as a fitting farewell for a career of his magnitude. Number 4, Andre the Giant. It was heartbreaking to witness the declining health of Andre the Giant, who sadly passed away from congestive heart failure in January 1993. Both figuratively and literally, Andre was the biggest draw in wrestling throughout the 1980s. By the early 90s, he could barely walk and required a cane during his final televised appearance on American soil. That appearance didn't even take place in WWF, but in WCW. He emerged on the 20th Clash of the Champions special in September 1992, a moment that highlighted the strained relationship he had with Vince McMahon, the tension that lasted until Andre's passing. Bruce Pritchard later revealed that McMahon admitted to regretting that their differences weren't resolved before the wrestling world lost the 8th wonder of the world. He said Vince took it hard. Vince and Andre were the same age, with birthdays fairly close together. Vince considered Andre one of his best friends and really hated the falling out they had. There was some regret that it hadn't been fully rectified and that he didn't get the opportunity to say goodbye to his friend. Andre's last match was difficult to watch. Teaming with Giant Baba and Rusher Kimura, he faced Masanobu Fuchi, Moto Akuma, and Haruka Eigen for All Japan Pro Wrestling. The 11-minute bout was a visible struggle. It remains a poignant reminder of the legend Andre was and the challenges he faced in his final months. Number 3, Roddy Piper. You could argue that Roddy Piper never truly retired. He just stopped wrestling regularly. The Hot Rod continued making occasional appearances for WWE until his passing in July 2015, including a residency on Legends House and hosting various Piper's Pit segments with guests like Rusev, Chris Jericho, and The Shield. Piper hadn't wrestled past 2011, delivering 4 matches of varying quality. That January, he won an Oddball Legends Battle Royal for PWG, a bizarre match that oddly counted Jimmy Hart, Vampiro, and Chavo Classic as PWG alumni. He then had 2 underwhelming matches for WWE, teaming with pro skateboarder Rob Dyrdek to defeat Tyson Kidd and Zack Ryder during WrestleMania 27 Access, and 2 months later pinning The Miz in his final WWE outing. His true final match took place for Juggalo Championship Wrestling, tag team bout with a combined age of the competitors totaled 230 years. There, Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton defeated McFoley and Terry Funk, giving him a final, memorable send-off in the ring. Number 2, Chyna. Chyna may have wrestled only 112 matches in her career, but she broke barriers every step of the way. During her relatively brief time in WWF, she achieved feats few women or men could, including her acclaimed participation in the 1999 and 2000 Royal Rumbles. Her trailblazing efforts eventually paved the way for an all-women's offshoot in 2018. Despite her successes, Chyna's departure from WWF in 2001 was acrimonious. Reports cite a strained relationship with Triple H, the possibility of his affair with Stephanie McMahon, and a lack of equal pay as contributing factors. Following her WWF exit, she briefly wrestled 13 matches for New Japan Pro Wrestling before leaving the ring in 2002. Chyna didn't fully retire until 2011, when she made a genuinely shocking return to wrestling in TNA as Kurt Angle's mystery associate, teaming with her former Attitude Era colleague. Chyna defeated Jeff and Karen Jarrett in what will become her bittersweet final match. At number 1, Randy Savage. For a wrestler who built his career on match quality, Randy Savage certainly didn't prioritize that when he arrived in TNA. He finally debuted at 2004's Victory Road, teaming with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles against the Kings of Wrestling, Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall at the following month's Turning Point event. It was an all-star lineup until Savage actually appeared. He didn't enter until the final few minutes, dressed entirely in black, hitting only a couple punches to secure a cheap win. There were no flying elbow drops, no colorful ring gear, none of his iconic macho mannerism. For that brief moment, he wrestled more like a Randy Savage impersonator than the Macho Man fans remember. The story behind Savage's TNA run is even wilder than the match itself. His Victory Road debut came after months of speculation and teases. When he finally appeared, he arrived with a list of demands longer than Chris Jericho's famed 104 hold. Savage also walked out of 2 sets of Impact tapings, the second walkout being the final straw, leading TNA executives to cancel any further plans with him. Had things gone differently, Randy Savage might have had a truly memorable farewell to wrestling. Instead, this stint was at least marginally marginally better than his final match, a bizarre 41-man battle royal on WCW Thunder.